Today, for anyone who's new, we're reading from the Radiant Sutras. And this is a translation of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Vijnana means like wisdom. And Bhairava, these are all Sanskrit words, so they have many, 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 many meanings. But Bhairava is like oneness with God or oneness with the universe, that feeling of like transcendence. And then Tantra is like tools of transformation. So if you imagine the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, right, that the Vijnana, that this place of deep wisdom, and not like knowledge wisdom, but like this deep knowing about the universe. And then Bhairava, to actually experience the amazing expansiveness of the universe. And then Tantra, that when we listen to these things and we allow them in, they transform us. So today we're going to read, sorry, my nose is itchy. We're going to read Sutra 101. You don't have to read it along with me. I'm going to read it out loud. And even, we're reading 107. But I invite you to just close your eyes and just listen and kind of allow, I don't know what's wrong with my nose, and allow, you know how inside of you there's sort of this physical self, that plays out in the world, and then there's this really deep eternal self. So we want to listen to this with our eternal self, and bring this energy into our being. We all tremble. We all know fear. Turn to the one life pervading the universe, whose name dispels fear. Find that name resonating in your heart. Luminosity permeates the universe, and this secret sound that hums everything into existence resounds everywhere. Listening to the inner sound continually, become lovers with the secret one. The name that came to mind is a god, so I don't know how to interpret that. Well, it's interesting, right? The name could be anything, right? It's just like words are a sound. They're just a vibration. So whatever the word is that connects you to that oneness, that is outside of us, that's within us, that's all that matters. Like whatever that word is, right? It's kind of like, what works for you. Well, and it's so interesting, right? When you think of like luminosity, secret sounds, a wave, when you think of how light has a frequency, right? Like all the colors of the spectrum have a specific frequency. And sounds all have a specific frequency. They've often linked the resonance of the chakras, like when you use a tuning fork to actually tune in with the resonance of the chakras, and that often that may also tell you what color. Like I'm not clairvoyant, I don't see colors like that, but people who do, they see colors emanating out of the chakras, and that there's a sound that, some people will even look at the frequencies of the chakras, and that it applies like to the pentatonic scale, like the musical scale. So you imagine, like, what if the sound that we make that has a frequency that brings in a certain luminosity, that brings in a certain kind of light in our world? Like it's so cool. Like when you imagine that the whole world is filled with waves. Like you even think of how our senses are designed, right? Like we have these 5 senses. We have more senses, but let's say with the 5. We have a smell sense. What if the world really is just energy, waves floating around, right? There's just all these waves. And these waves are going through the world. And we were given one way to pick up these waves, maybe through smell. And these waves go into our nose, and somehow our brain interprets that wave as a rose, a skunk, but it's just a frequency. And this is a way of picking up that frequency. Same frequency is floating along, goes into our eardrum, and it resonates as something we call sound. It is literally a way of experiencing this world. Our eyes, we look around. Frequency, light coming in, all kinds of frequencies, all kinds of colors, all coming into our eyes. And our eyes are picking them up, and it's going up into our brain, and our brain is interpreting the world as color. Imagine that every sense we have is just the ability to interpret the energy waves, but we just happen to get them in different ways. That we taste the world. Why do we taste things differently? Why does some touch feel a certain way? And then if we even go beyond that and we go into like the sixth sense, our intuitive sense, is it any different? Right? Are we just picking up the frequencies floating around at a higher vibration? Right? If we keep ourselves sort of focused on the earth and the earthly things, that's where we're going to be really sensitive to those frequencies down here in the physical. But let's say through meditation or study or prayer or walking in the woods or horseback riding or whatever it is that tunes you in with a greater universe, you become more sensitive in the higher frequencies. So all of a sudden, the frequencies that are going around that are higher, we're feeling them the same way that we hear things through our ears. Yes, a vibration or frequency, but do you think this sutra is talking to the individuals? And then when we are aware of our vibration, we can match it to the universe. So, thanks. So, what's interesting about this sutra is the focus. So if you're new to this book, at the end of his book, he has like a little study or a meditation for every single sutra. And so in this one, he asked us to look at the word bhaya, which actually means fear. And he talks about how like fear is a thing. We all have fears. We all have things that we're afraid of. And bhaya can mean fear, terror, apprehension, all these kind of things. And like the first line is everyone's afraid. And the lesson is to actually dive into the fear. That he says, that the word bhairava means many, many, many things, right? But one of the English translations of it is the word terrific, which of course comes from the root terror. And terror is something really interesting because the idea is that terror and ecstasy can actually happen at the same time. There's this heightened response to the world. And we have a choice at that point. We can kind of contract because we're afraid, or we experience the fear, but we go inside and we feel the deeper resonance of the one, of the universe, which also resonates inside of us. Right? That when we can feel the fear, but all we need to do is go in and remember the eternal one. Remember that we are eternal. Remember that resonance. And suddenly it's like we're feeling that. And the fear is still allowed to be here. But instead, the fear almost brings us to the door. And when we step through it, because we're bringing this cosmic frequency with us, this eternal frequency with us, we're able to walk through the door and it opens something up for us. Right? I'm going to read it in Sanskrit, and then I'm going to read it in English. And then I'd like to do a meditation with you guys. Baya sarvam ravayati sarvada vyapaka akile ita parava shabdasya santata ucharanat shiva. We all tremble, we all know fear. Turn to the one life pervading the universe, whose name dispels fear. Find that name resonating in your heart. Luminosity permeates the universe, and the secret sound that hums everything into existence resounds everywhere. Listen to the inner sound continually. Become lovers with the secret one. So let's just close our eyes and just breathe deeply. This music, they're called Solfeggio Frequencies. They are sounds that resonate with our chakras, with our eternal self, the perfect divine beings that we really are inside right now. We may have challenges and personalities and difficulties, but inside our chakras are perfect, divine spinning wheels of light. So just breathing deeply, expanding your belly as you inhale and contracting as you exhale. Feeling your shoulders relax. Feeling your body relax around your eyes, your jaw, your back. And we're just going to take a little journey through the chakras, becoming aware of the first chakra, a place between your sex organ and anus, the perineum, where you're sitting, the hip area. And just breathing deeply, allowing the sounds, the frequencies to just permeate into that chakra. And then moving up to the second chakra, just below your navel. Knowing that with all of your breath, your breath carries prana, life force. Bringing that energy into the second chakra, where we experience the flow of life. And then coming into our third chakra, moving up about a couple inches above the navel. Just breathing deeply. Feeling this perfection inside of you. Really knowing that there's great purpose for our uniqueness. And then coming up into the heart chakra. And feeling this divine love. Coming in through the back, flowing into your body, like the universe giving you a great hug. And then moving up into the throat chakra. Bringing your breath into this area. Feeling yourself singing your song. No matter what it is, just loving singing it. Then coming up into the third eye, to the brow point, ajna. And just feeling this beautiful chakra expand, releasing any tension or contraction, feeling the breath flowing through, allowing ourselves to hear, to vision our life, and that it's all right there, totally effortless. And then moving up into the crown, the 1,000-petaled lotus, and releasing us to the universe, feeling fully connected as a child of the universe. Breathing deeply. And then imagine you're sitting there in this beautiful bliss, fully aligned with the universe, feeling the frequency of the ancient one that has always been here, that you're a part of, that lives within your DNA, lives within you, flows through your blood. And imagine a fear arising in your life, a real one, a potential one. And without thinking about it, feel the chakra that it flows to for support. allow the wisdom of your body to care for this. As these thoughts arise, which chakra lights up? Which chakra beckons those thoughts, those fears, and says, come here. Feel the resonance of truth. Know that this is just part of the experience. And allow yourself to flow through a few thoughts that may be floating in your ethers today. And again, just feel the individual chakras without any thought about it. These are divine energies within us. They have great wisdom. And then come back to our chakras. Come back to this beautiful line of glowing energy centers within you. Your root deeply rooted into the earth, drawing energy from Mother Earth, flowing up through the spine. Maybe you see them in color. Maybe you feel them become lighter as you move up towards the crown. And just know that as we walk through our lives and questions come up, we can always just take a deep breath and ask these beautiful divine knowings within for guidance to help bring us back to the Eternal One. We all tremble, we all know fear. Turn to the one life pervading the universe, whose name dispels fear, and find that name resonating in your heart. Luminosity permeates the universe, and the secret sound that hums everything into existence resounds everywhere. Listening to the inner sound continually, become lovers with the secret one. Let's just sit in silence for a minute and just breathe. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you soon.